Okay, sometimes we just get tired of our clothes and our wardrobe. I want to tell you in this video the key steps to updating your clothes. So this is actually a part 2 of a series I'm doing on updating your wardrobe. So if you want to watch the first one, it's right up here, and also I'll link it in the description below. Now, I do think it's pretty important for you to watch that one. It is a key step. If you want to keep watching this one, the cliff notes on the first is basically going through your wardrobe and getting rid of the stuff that you hate and finding the stuff that you love. And it really is an important step. So watch that if you need to. If not, keep watching this one. This is part 2 in that series. All right, so before we get into that, my name is Timothy Sands, and this is Fashionable Father. To all the lucky early subscribers, welcome back. Also, welcome back to all the subscribers in the past few months. Yeah, it's nice to have you here. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, I present content to help men present their best selves. If that intrigues you, subscribe if you're so inclined. So obviously this year has been one of flux, a lot of change. Some people have been forced to pivot. Actually, all of us have been forced to pivot. Very few of us have not. And I think this is an absolute appropriate time to assess what's going on in your life, and what better than your clothes. I know I'm doing that, and that's why I'm bringing you along for the ride. And I've realized I've done this in the past, and I approach it from multiple steps. So I figured, hey, why not make multiple videos and make a series out of it? So again, this is part 2 in this series of updating your clothes. So the next step is inspiration and feeding it. Now, you're either in 2 groups. One, you're already inspired and you're going out and shopping already. That's why you have to do the first step. Do not go out and start buying clothes. Watch that first video and make sure you go through your closet and find the stuff that you love and find the stuff that you hate and get rid of some of your clothes. Because you don't want to go out and buy a bunch of clothes just because you got inspired and you want to replace a bunch, because you're going to pile a bunch of clothes on top of clothes, and you're also going to get them mixed up. And updating your clothes and your wardrobe is about getting new stuff and changing kind of your style a little bit or refreshing it, and you want a clean slate. You're the other group, and you're like me, you're looking at your wardrobe and you're completely uninspired, and you're looking at the fashion industry right now and you're not inspired by that as well. And I have been here so many times. I'm actually sometimes shocked how I will just stop caring about clothes. So if you're like me, this step is absolutely needed, right? Because what you need to do is spark that inspiration and start being a little more attentive to how you look and also getting more excited about clothes. So if you notice, I'm not talking about trends. Some people believe updating your clothes or your wardrobe is all about finding the latest trend and keeping up with everybody else. Now, don't get me wrong. I really care about fashion, and I really do like to be up to date on what's going on in fashion. However, my first priority is what I want and how I want to look. And a lot of the times I do see a lot of my inspiration comes from very specific places that have very little to do with trends. And I want you to feel the same way. This does not have to be about the latest trend or the latest fashion. This can be about what you want to communicate, and what you want to demonstrate to other people about your identity and your own style. And I really, really love that concept of your own individual style. So let's try to stay away from trends. Again, I do like the fashion industry, where it goes, and I like to identify with that. But let's also make a priority about communicating ourselves. Okay? So what is the steps on how we inspire ourselves in wardrobes? Now, I have to admit, times have changed. I used to have to dig through magazines and dig through, books and all this hard stuff. Now, actually, just jump on the computer. So yeah, the computer, that's where we get our inspiration. That's where we can get a lot of our research done. And that's where we can get a lot just of visuals of fashion and ideas. And the first one I'm going to mention, and it's obvious, it's movies and television. Yes, of course, we are heavily influenced by such, and you can get such good ideas from them. I think the only difference from me and someone who probably doesn't care about fashion as much, and I want to inspire you very much so if you do not, is I look at the details. When I watch movies, I get very, very into, like, I will notice shoes. I will notice a ring. Speaking of which, I don't know if you ever remember this movie. It was called The Counselor, and it had Michael Fassbender in it, and I think it had Pitt in it as well. But I was just so fascinated by this very specific ring that Michael Fassbender was wearing. And it is like super simple, super minimal. I think it might have been on his ring finger, maybe the pinky. I don't know, I'll show it here. But yeah, it was something that I just almost became obsessed with. I'm still a little obsessed with it. I think when I go to design a ring, which will happen in the near future, I'm going to do something very much like that. The thing is I really do pay attention to the details. So if you're not one that does that, pause the movie when you find either an actor or a character that you really, really like. Pause it. And I challenge you to look at the details. Look at what they're wearing, how they're wearing it, why they're wearing it, the fit. What made you stop that part of the movie and look at that actor? And it can be anything. I mean, obviously it can be anywhere from someone wearing a suit or someone who just looks awesome on a sailboat, whatever the case may be. But you can get so much inspiration from that and go seek that stuff out. And it really does help in the regard to being inspired and giving you some more ideas. For me, I'll be honest, it's Wes Anderson movies. He is so specific about how he presents clothes, and then also Guy Ritchie movies. That British style that he brings, and I don't know why, it always seems like he has amazing sunglasses in his movies. But next up, I'm gonna just talk about rock stars. And I'm not talking about just people on stage rocking out. Yes, they inspire me, but I'm talking about people who are in the limelight that present themselves as rock stars and really, really care about their fashion. And again, I'm not just talking about tight pants and like big hair. I'm talking about people like even Donald Glover. Like, that dude is amazing. He really cares about fashion. He cares about how he looks. He cares about what he wears. And he kind of runs the gamut from looking really, really good on the red carpet, but also looking like he doesn't care, but still really presents himself well. Now, I like that, and I like specific stars that do that. People in the limelight that really care about fashion and dress as if they really, really care too. And they do the high fashion and they get edgy. And you can take a piece from that, you know, and make it your own. And you don't have to be high end and super flashy. Just take parts of it and that inspire you. Speaking of which, what are some of the rock stars that inspire you? What are the celebrities that inspire you to dress better? What are some of the maybe even musical artists that inspire you? Maybe even sports stars that inspire you, that they care about how they look and they present themselves a certain way? You tell me in the comments below. Okay, so the last two I think are very, very specific, and what people kind of gloss over and don't realize can be so inspiring. The first of the last is vocation. And I'm talking about work. What people do for a living inspires me. And I think it inspires a lot of people without them even knowing it. I'm always inspired by painters. And I'm not talking about people who, or even people who paint houses, but I'm talking about, you know, people who paint pictures. And the artist's smock and how they wear it. And it has a little bit of paint on it. And there's something so inspiring about what you wear for your vocation. And if you are inspired by that and you can take a piece of it and make it yours, run with it. And if it's something that you do and you want to present that, like photographers or even a writer and small wire rim glasses, right? Or a tweed jacket, all these things, if you really, really love it and you want to present it to people, I just think that vocation is a huge inspiration for fashion. I love the fisherman's cap right now. I want to do a whole video on it. And that is obviously specifically for a fisherman. They roll it up on purpose so that it didn't cover their ears so they could hear things. But they obviously had to have the cap on because it was cold. And there was a specific reason behind the cap. Even a mechanic shop and the Dickies work shirt, that if you put a badge on it or if you make it yours, it can be your style. So vocation is huge for me. I really feel like that is an overlooked inspiration for updating your wardrobe or making you look refreshed and bringing something alive in you that you're like, wow, I wear this not only because it's stylish, but because it has major purpose in my life. Now this last one is not as obvious as the others, but I think you're already doing it without noticing it. And it's culture, just culture in general. Now the obvious one would be period, right? Time periods. And we can easily be inspired by that because back to the movie thing, we can be inspired by the 60s. We can be inspired by even the 80s. We can be inspired by, I have already talked about Cary Grant plenty of times on this channel. I am obviously inspired by the 40s and that specific time. And so yes, it kind of mixes with movies and culture of that time, but you can go even farther back. And a lot of times the reason why we get a lot of this information is through movies. But if you look for pictures of those time periods, like I would even go back to the Pride and Prejudice era. What is that, the 16th century? No, that's the 17th century. Anyways, those eras, you can find pictures of people in that time. And I'll be honest, something that I've always been influenced by is Japanese culture. Now, I don't really wear a lot of stuff that's Japanese, but I'm thoroughly impressed by their shoes. If you watch my shoe videos, they're all about minimal soles. If I could wear little ninja slippers, I would. But obviously what I do, I take from that and I modernize it for me. And I feel like this can be done with so many things. I really want to just, if I could get away with it, I would be a 17th century French sailor. I just, whenever I see a picture of one, whenever I see a drawing, whenever I see a costume, I want to be that person. I want to be, I think it's in the Napoleon era. Is that the era? Anyways, I'll flash some photos up here, but I love that picture, or I love that style. And I feel like if I could just modernize it and make it mine, it would be something I wear on a regular basis. So this is the second step, the second video in the series of updating your wardrobe, updating your clothes. And I hope you got some value from this. Take it, run with being inspired, go investigate things, watch movies, pause them, look at rock stars, look at vocation, look at culture, start making it yours. You can take all that stuff, modernize it, or look at like that era and even totally copy that era. Whatever you want to do, be inspired, run with it, okay? I hope this helps. My name is Timothy Sands. This is my story of fashion and fatherhood. If you like this video, I think you'll like this video right here. This actually has a lot to do about vocation and what I think all women are attracted to. So watch that if you like this video, and always remember, never forget, style first. All right, see you in the next one. Mwah.